The crypto market's making moves today, and XRP, all right, you know what? I gotta say this. XRP is straight up crushing it as the best performer among the top 10 coins by market cap yet again. Could I be any less shocked? Nope, didn't catch me off guard at all. This is the kind of action we live for. Feast your eyes on this. XRP is chilling at $2.24. Oh, and since some of you love the specifics, it's currently 3:17 p.m. Central Time, Monday, November 24th, 2025. All right, so XRP at $2.24, surging about 9% right this second, but it was actually pumping even harder just moments earlier. XRP spiked all the way to $2.28 before pulling back slightly. Then you've got Bitcoin sitting just past $89,000, which a bunch of analysts are pointing to as a major resistance zone. And it's basically parked right at its 24-hour all-time high. Interesting times ahead there. Sentiment noticed what's going on too. Roughly an hour back, they dropped this post. Here's what they said. Bitcoin has climbed back to a high of $88,800 today. But the story has been altcoins like XRP plus 7% they also noted, as they look to continue their rebound after last week's FUD led to so many traders to bow out of the market. I'd bet good money that everyone who smashed that sell button at the absolute bottom is feeling pretty silly right about now. Some regrets, like the internet memes joke about. Definitely some regrets going around. Sure, there's a chance the market dips lower again. Not only am I not a chart analyst, thanks to that fact actually, I'm not here trying to predict short-term price movements. But my confidence in where we're headed remains bulletproof. Genuinely. I'm dead certain we're not living through a bear market here. I genuinely believe Bitcoin's about to rip higher in a major way. And hey, I've got a bunch of reasons fueling that view, not least because I'm betting on history doing its thing, rhyming with past cycles. I'm trusting global liquidity to show us the way, like it's always managed to do. And then what? XRP tags along for the ride. I'm expecting a proper alt season to kick in, where XRP ventures into brand new price levels we've never seen before. That entire playbook is still completely on the table. Now here's where I stand. I have no clue what the next few days or weeks bring. And honestly, I'm much more tuned into the macro view since I just accumulate and hold tight. That's how I roll. So let me level with you. There's a real possibility prices take another leg down from here. But hang tight as we work through this video because check it out. I'm about to walk you through takes from 12 different chart analysts who follow XRP closely. You'll pick up on something fast. A handful of them acknowledge we might drop further, and that wouldn't destroy the overall setup. It would just pack even more fuel into the rocket when liftoff finally happens, assuming what we're watching right now isn't already that launch. All right, check out what Swissblock just threw into the mix here. They're resharing something from this chart analyst guy, Ted Pelos. 250,000 followers on his account. I keep seeing his stuff everywhere lately. Full transparency, I haven't deep dived into everything this guy posts, but clearly he's built up quite the audience. So about half a day ago, he drops this analysis. His take? Bitcoin got rejected from its resistance level. If Bitcoin doesn't reclaim the $88,000 to $90,000 level soon, it could drop towards a new monthly low. And he's not just throwing that out there as a possibility. He genuinely believes that's where we're headed. I actually clicked through to see what else he's been saying, and yeah, the pattern's pretty clear. He's basically screaming bull trap with everything he's posting right now. That's his whole thesis. Now, Swissblock sees this and decides to pile on with their own data. Their response? Historically speaking, we would expect another lower momentum drop to take out the $80,000 to $82,000 liquidity clusters. This will be the strongest setup for a larger move. Their on-chain metrics are backing up the idea that we haven't bottomed out yet, even with this bounce we're celebrating today. So if their analysis holds water, we're basically just catching our breath before round 2 of the drop. Listen, I'm bringing this up not because I want to rain on anyone's parade during a green candle day. Believe me, I'm riding this high with everyone else. But here's the thing. If we do get smacked back down, you have options for how you react. One of those options is simply choosing not to have a complete meltdown. Wild concept, I know. Just remember what you signed up for. This is crypto. The absolute wildest ride in all of investing. This is literally just crypto being crypto. Seeing red on your screen doesn't mean the sky is falling or the whole thing's imploding. It's not a sign that we're staring down the barrel of a total wipeout. Does the tech actually solve problems? That's the only question that matters. Everything I'm betting on comes back to one simple idea. If something's genuinely useful, it'll outlast all the noise and come out on top. Chart analyst Zoom's waving the red flag here. Be careful of the bull trap. He's convinced what we're watching right now is smoke and mirrors, just bait before the real drop hits. And he's not even in the game anymore. He's packed up his bags, taken his winnings, and stepped aside, at least temporarily, which honestly, good for him. Taking profits is a strategy. People assess risk differently. Zero judgment there. Where I start having issues, and yeah, this is where I get a bit intense, is watching people blow up their portfolios because their feelings are running the show. That's the real danger zone. Buying on impulse? Panic selling? If you're letting your gut override your brain for big money decisions, you're setting yourself up to get wrecked. But Zoom? He's different. He's made a call based on what he actually believes will happen. Could be right, could be dead wrong, but there's thought behind it instead of just panic or hype. Okay, so here's something interesting. This guy is literally one of only 3 chart analysts in my whole feed who've gone from bullish to bearish on XRP. Just 3 people that I'm tracking right now. But all those other chart analysts I follow, and I'm talking dozens and dozens of them, they're still completely bullish on XRP. In fact, these folks are about as optimistic as you can get right now. And I'm including Credible Crypto in that group. Now, if you don't know who he is, let me tell you, this man knows his stuff. He's sitting at 484,000 followers on X. And trust me, every single one of those followers is earned. So he's got this XRP USD chart up. And yeah, he's being real with us. There's a chance we see some downside movement. But listen to this. He's still calling for all-time highs. Take a look at what he posted. By the way, this isn't old news. He dropped this at 11:42 this morning. Super recent. His first words, "We got pretty close." Wait, actually, let me give you the proper setup here. Someone on X tagged Credible Crypto with this question. Hey, Credible Crypto, did XRP finally hit that last tap around $1.76 about 3 days back? Here's what Credible Crypto came back with. We got pretty close, haven't quite hit it just yet. Remember, as per my last YouTube video, all we're doing is seeing chop within a large range after a 5x impulse move to the upside. A test of $1.77, or even a sweep of the lows at $1.60 into the green demand zone we tapped earlier. You'll need to check the screen to see the zones he's referring to. Then he adds, would not be out of the question, and would not change anything either. So yeah, he's straight up telling us we might see a drop down to roughly $1.60. But does that make him bearish? Absolutely not. Listen to what he says next. Whenever this consolidation/correction completes, we'll be expecting a fresh impulse to new all-time high, one that is even stronger than the last. And honestly, history backs this up completely. XRP follows this classic pattern every time. Big explosive move up, sideways consolidation phase, then an even bigger move to the upside. So if we're genuinely in this drawn out cycle because of how liquidity works, well then yeah, this whole scenario tracks perfectly. So it's postponed, not off the table. He's still fully expecting this thing to happen. And when he pulls back to look at the bigger picture, Bitcoin's still in great shape according to him. We just need to stay north of $74,000. Anything trading above that mark, we're golden. The technical setup remains healthy. And here's why that matters so much. If that $74,000 level holds, Bitcoin's gonna start climbing again eventually. And when it does, the altcoins are coming with it. That's just how this whole space operates. Everything rises and falls as one. All right, so here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez that caught my attention. He's breaking it down. 1.8 billion XRP were previously acquired around $1.75, making it a key support area. Now, given everything Credible Crypto was just saying about potentially sliding lower, this timing is really interesting. What Ali's telling us is that even if we get that dip, there's massive support waiting right in that zone. And Credible Crypto mentioned $1.77 as one of his key levels. I mean, those numbers are basically twins, right? That's wild how closely they line up. Chart analyst CW just came through with a spicy prediction. He says XRP's rocket is taking off. It will surpass its all-time high and head towards the peak of phase 4. This dropped literally 3 hours ago, super fresh. Now hold on, phase 4 sounds fancy, but what does that actually mean in dollars and cents? Pull up his chart and look at the tippy top. We're talking $21.50 per XRP. Yeah, you heard that right. Now let me paint the picture here. The last 6 weeks, rough. We've been in this downward grind ever since that liquidation massacre on October 10th. People are panicking, throwing in the towel, the whole 9 yards. But CW, he's not budged an inch. His message is crystal clear. All that noise doesn't scratch what the technicals are screaming at him. The move is still locked and loaded. Okay, wait, this part cracks me up. Peep the chart real quick. Has to be this little guy right here, doesn't it? That skinny wick there? Come on, that's the one, right? I'm dying over here. Assuming that's what we're looking at, and look, maybe I'm missing something, but I'm pretty sure no other wick would even register on this thing. It's just comedy, pure comedy. Why? Because that wick existed for maybe half a breath. Blink and you literally missed it shooting back up. The whole thing meant absolutely nothing in the grand scheme. But zooming out and still being able to spot it on the chart, that's entertainment value right there. Okay, so I just saw this wild post from X-Force Global that says, XRP, get ready for $4 plus. Dude literally posted it this morning. His whole vibe is, get ready for $4 plus. I'm very confident we will see a bullish continuation this cycle. Many Elliotticians are probably struggling with this chart, removing every market inefficiency through the line chart. I'm delivering a true Elliott wave view that no one is seeing. This man has been standing on business with this prediction forever. Like, he's convinced XRP is about to absolutely rip from these levels. Even with all this downward price action we're seeing, zero hesitation. He's locked in. And honestly, when you zoom out, this crazy volatility we're experiencing right now, par for the course, happens over and over again. Want to know something interesting? Almost none of these drops have ever kicked off an actual bear market. I mean, if we're being real here, crypto has only gone through maybe a couple of legitimate bear markets since day one. That's it. But 30% corrections? Bro, we've been through those more times than I can count on my fingers and toes. Same story every time. Mass panic. Everyone's freaking out like the sky is falling. Oh no, bear market incoming. But then what actually happens? Nothing. We recover. Y'all are drama queens, honestly. But hey, not you watching this. You get it. You're smart. Huff Waves just dropped some technical analysis on XRP that's pretty interesting. Here's what he's saying. In our last XRP post, we discussed the potential for another push lower to form a truncated low. Since then, price has printed a new low on the line chart relative to the wick from the liquidity sweep. But the structure getting there is a bit funky. At first glance, it looks like a clean 3-wave move. However, there is a valid expanding diagonal count in play. Now we're seeing a solid impulse developing off that low. The key focus is whether this continues and sets up that high probability C3 trade we've been waiting for. For now, I still favor this support holding. Another voice joining the optimistic side on XRP. What's fascinating is his price target on these charts. He's literally mapping out a path that could take us to roughly $7.50 before long. His stance through all this volatility hasn't cracked. Dude's holding firm to his analysis like nothing even happened. A post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. This is an XRP BTC chart. Reclaim possible? The last time XRP broke out of a downtrend against Bitcoin, it reclaimed the 200 EMA and exploded upside by 50.58%. The same setup is emerging. Can it reclaim and rally above? It all depends on Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. Look, let me be real with you. If Bitcoin decides to nosedive, your XRP party is over. Simple as that. This isn't some rare occurrence either. Bitcoin crashes, everything else bleeds. That's the game we're playing. But dominance? That's a different beast entirely. You're actually rooting for dominance to crater because that means altcoins are finally getting their turn in the spotlight. The trick is you need Bitcoin's price staying strong while dominance drops. Sounds contradictory, right? It's not though. History shows us Bitcoin can pump to ridiculous levels during its last manic phase while dominance simultaneously collapses. That's your golden signal. Everyone's eyes are glued to the charts waiting for this. Still hasn't triggered. But listen, I've been hammering this point home video after video. Technical analysts across the board are saying dominance looks like garbage right now. Breakdown incoming. Which would be textbook behavior based on past cycles. Everything's aligning, the pieces are falling into place. Honestly, being pessimistic here seems illogical to me. And quick side note, we're talking XRP BTC, so you should know the all-time high on that pair hasn't been touched since the first half of 2017. I mention this regularly, markets bottom out eventually. Where exactly? No clue. I'm not that guy making laser precise calls. Price predictions aren't my thing. I've got hunches about the macro picture. That's my lane. But here's where I will stick my neck out. No expiration date on this one. Somewhere in the future, XRP BTC will print a new all-time high. Bank on it. I can't tell you when. Seriously, I have zero idea if this happens today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, or half a decade from now. I'm not going to sit here and throw out some random date. But here's the thing. If this never happens, that would be absolutely insane. The whole reason we've been stuck in this waiting game for so long is because the SEC was basically putting a chokehold on XRP's price. So yeah, seeing that new all-time high on the XRP to USD chart felt pretty damn good. Although, let's be real, even that took an eternity. What was it, like 7 years or something? Yeah, just a hair over 7 years for XRP to punch through that all-time high barrier from January 2018 all the way to January 2025. So that box is finally checked. You had to be super patient through that whole thing, right? Well, here's where we're at now. We're still playing the waiting game on the XRP to Bitcoin chart, but it's coming. When the stars align and I'm betting Bitcoin goes into that last crazy parabolic pump, I think we're going to witness a genuine alt season roll through. All of that is going to line up at once, or at least that's my strong suspicion, because historically speaking, that's exactly how these cycles play out. But if you think that's just never going to materialize, come on, that's borderline delusional. So wrap your head around this real quick. XRP has already pushed up this far. It's not even in the same zip code as its all-time high versus Bitcoin. Yet it's already at this level against the dollar. Talk about a rock solid foundation underneath it. Holy crap, that's actually incredible. There's a chart analyst named Chart Nerd who just put something out there. Here's what he laid out. XRP has been consolidating for nearly 365 days above $1.90. Bullish factors above $1.90. Number 1, 20-month EMA support. Number 2, price sitting above prior all-time high candle closes and 2021 neckline highs. 3, bullish super trend line support. 4, price action has come home to its middle regression band of the Gaussian channel. All those indicators are lining up. From a technical analysis perspective, he's basically telling us this picture looks extremely encouraging. What really catches my attention though, the same narrative keeps popping up everywhere. Literally almost every chart person I follow who analyzes XRP is spotting these identical signals. This post from chart analyst Tara. XRP is trying to break out. It reached the 0.5 retrace and the RSI is strong. Breaking past this level now means that $2.30 is next. All right, so diving into what she's laying out here, she mentions the critical 382 supports, $2.30. This is the level that XRP really needs to reclaim in order to help confirm the bottom is in. We still don't have confirmation of a new trend just yet, although it is starting to get really impulsive and show signs of strength. Definitely what we like to see at the start of macro wave 3. We need to pay very close attention to Bitcoin in this moment, which just reached its resistance at $88,300 and hasn't been able to break above yet. Waiting for the break or retrace, which will give us insights into XRP's next movement. We are so close. Look, this is just one more voice in the chorus saying what we've been seeing play out again and again. Bitcoin leads, XRP follows. Whatever direction Bitcoin decides to head, XRP tends to tag along for the ride. But hang on, because the real story isn't about following directions. Give this thing some runway, let time do its magic, and XRP has the potential to blow past Bitcoin's returns by a mile. Want to know the secret sauce? XRP's market is tiny compared to Bitcoin's whale-sized pool of money. And before you think that's a bad thing, flip that script. It's actually a massive advantage. You don't need billions pouring in to watch XRP's price explode. A fraction of that capital can send it doubling, tripling, shooting up 4 times over. That's the power of playing in a smaller pond. This comes from Crypto Michael, and check what he says. I called XRP before it pumped 800%. Many are once again losing faith in XRP. That's the purpose of this correction. It's a transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. Spot on there. XRP is ready to surprise everyone once again. That's all I'm going to say. Man, he's speaking truth right there. Look, that patience versus impatience dynamic plays out across every market. But with XRP, it's almost poetic. Think about what we're dealing with here. A digital asset that's been battling headwinds and regulatory drama for years. Yet somehow it's still standing as one of the most functionally brilliant cryptocurrencies we have. Banks are using it. Financial institutions are plugging into it. The tech behind its payment system, borderline genius level stuff. It flat out performs. No fluff, no excuses. Settlements happen before you finish your coffee. Transactions zip through faster than you can refresh your screen. And the cost to send value across borders, practically invisible. When something works this well, people notice. They remember. That's why XRP belongs to this tiny elite trio of coins that have never once fallen below the top 10 rankings since launch day, through bull runs, bear markets, lawsuits, everything. And who else made that cut? Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP. 3 names. That's your entire list. Every other project has stumbled out of that zone at some point. So when I think about where our money's sitting right now, honestly, zero anxiety here. We latched onto something special. So Crypto Insight UK just dropped something. And yeah, the dude's clearly pumped about what he's seeing. He throws out this question. XRP to lead again here? I mean, bare minimum, he's got some cautious hope brewing. And then boom, 3-day looking good. That's him eyeballing the XRP USD chart. But hold on, he doesn't stop there. Next thing you know, he's posting an XRP ETH chart. Then suddenly there's an XRP BTC chart, and wait for it, an XRP dominance chart shows up too. This entire parade happened just this morning. Clearly he believes we're sitting in a pretty comfortable position. And you know what? This vibe keeps popping up everywhere I look when chart analysts start talking. Now listen, I genuinely go digging for bearish XRP perspectives from chart folks because balance matters to me for this channel. The problem, that stuff's basically nowhere to be found. I'm not handpicking bullish content while conveniently burying bearish takes. Trust me, I'd gladly showcase bearish analysis. Balance is important. You probably feel the same way. When bad news surfaces, even though nobody actually wants bad news, I bet you're wired like me, where facing uncomfortable reality beats living in denial, yeah? But here's my honest observation. Tracking down pessimistic XRP chart forecasts is genuinely challenging, seriously tough, mainly because analysts generally don't anticipate poor performance. Simple as that. Agreed Crypto dropped a post, and honestly, reading the entire thing word for word isn't happening right now because time's ticking. That said, you're welcome to freeze frame this moment and absorb every detail he laid out since it's all visible on your screen. What really caught my attention though is down here at the end. This went live roughly 12 hours back, which means it landed before we witnessed today's surge takeoff. Listen to what he's saying. Most probable scenario. Based on the structure alone, This looks more like late cycle consolidation before a final upside leg, not the start of a macro bear. The chart leans toward one last push, not a completed top. Here's what gets me. This exact narrative keeps repeating itself across every chart analyst I come across. The big moment hasn't happened yet. That's what they're all signaling. And that wraps it up. We've now covered viewpoints from around a dozen different XRP chart analysts. Really satisfying to see this kind of stuff. Good material through and through. All right, obligatory warning moment. I am absolutely not a financial advisor. Do not base your buying or selling moves on anything I'm talking about here. Got it? That would be astronomically ridiculous. Talk to you in the next one.